and we're gonna watch the movie Freddy Got Fingered now. That's the logo. That's the logo, the 20th Century Fox logo, which is exciting, actually. When we got to make this movie, I didn't realize that we were actually going to have this logo at the beginning. And when it came up, you know, the first time, you know, it came up in the editing room, I thought, like, holy shit, man, that's fucking crazy. We've got a 20th Century Fox logo on our movie. That's insane, because it looks all professional, you know? It looks all This next one here, this is New Regency. Which is another studio that is sort of partnered with Fox. I don't know how it works particularly. It's all big Hollywood business stuff. But there it is again, Regency Enterprises presents a New Regency MBST production. And MBST is like a production company. Okay, this is a cat. That's a cat. It's a drawing of a cat. This is the first scene of the movie, essentially, where I'm basically playing with animations because my character wants to be an animator. And a lot of this scene is actually based on some scenes we used to do on the television show back in Canada many years ago. On our old cable show, we used to do this thing called animations, where I would basically hold on to these little sort of pieces of paper, and it would just be a shot of my hands flipping through the paper, and I'd narrate the animations live. I don't know if that's interesting to you. I mean, if it isn't, you know, you don't have to really listen to this section of the DVD where you Actually, know what's weird? I'm going to tell everybody this right now. But like right now, while I'm recording this, I can hear the audio in the background slightly, like you probably can right now too. And it kind of distracts me a little bit. Can I turn the audio from the movie down? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's better. It's much easier for me to talk to everybody because you probably won't hear that mix. But a second ago, there's me right there. That's me lying on a bed, and I'm making a silly face. That bedroom there is actually designed to look exactly like my bedroom growing up, you know, covered in the, you know, Transworld skateboarding and skateboarding pictures and all that stuff, and Thrasher magazine, and that's me and my skateboarding. That's a little kid. His name's Andy Malloy. We're gonna meet him in the movie, and he's lives across the street. My friend Derek Harvie, who wrote the movie with me, thought it would be fun to have a little kid in the movie who has things happen to him, because one day in New York City when we were writing the movie, he saw this little kid running across the street, and he fell and he hit his head on a fire hydrant, and it made him think that would be funny to have a kid hitting his head all the time. That's me skateboarding through the shopping mall. I used to like to skateboard through shopping malls, you know, when I was a younger boy, you know, when I was like in my mid-20s, and I would skateboard through the malls and get kicked out of the shopping malls. So I thought it would be fun to have an opening scene where, you know, security guards were chasing me on my skateboard, because security guards kind of suck, and, you know, they're basically always like to... And the other thing, I also thought it would be fun to have a skateboarding scene at the beginning of the movie, because I remembered when I was about, you know, 15 years old, Back to the Future came out, the Michael J. Fox movie Back to the Future, a story about a man who goes back in time and gets stranded there and then has to figure out how to get back to the future, which is, you know, essentially, you know, present day to him, but the future to everyone else where he is, if you know what I mean. But anyways, that movie opened with a skateboarding scene, you know, to the soundtrack of Huey Lewis's Power of Love. And at that time, I got into skateboarding and Huey Lewis quite seriously because of that movie. So I thought it'd be fun to, you know, to do that. Although we didn't put Huey Lewis in the... There was some consideration maybe we'd put Huey Lewis in the opening scene, but we decided, you know, let's stick with something a little more punk rock. So we threw the Sex Pistols Problems in there, which was the song we were listening to. That's Rip Torn. He plays my father in the movie. You probably know this already, because most likely when you picked up the DVD, you read the box, and you don't need me to tell you. That's Julie Hagerty there. She was in Airplane and lots of movies. Airplane specifically, Defending Your Life, and that's me. She's kissing my head, and that's Rip again. I guess I don't have to tell you every time the character comes on screen, because now that I've identified them, you know, I already told you that was Rip, so I don't have to say, hey, that's Rip again. That would probably be a boring audio track to listen to, and every time the character pops on screen, oh, there's Rip again, you know? That's not exactly what you need to hear. You want to hear interesting facts. Bob Zimbicki is the production designer. That's the credit there. He sort of... Mark Irwin, he's shot a lot of really cool movies. He shot Something About Mary and Dumb and Dumber, and he shot The Fly, and he shot Scream, and... tons of stuff. Those are all the producers there. They're all very nice people. enjoyed working with all of them very much. And that's myself and Derek Harvie, who's my friend. Derek Harvie, I met when I was in the 3rd grade in Rudy Snell's class in Robert Hopkins Public School in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And Rudy Snell had red hair and glasses, and Derek sat a few. You don't really need to know what Rudy Snell, my grade 3 teacher, looked like, though. You don't really need to know that either. So, again, this is not important to your movie watching experience. This has nothing to do with Freddy Got Fingered and Rudy Snell, my grade 3 teacher, are not really interlinked. You know, you don't need to know that information. You want to know about the movie. The LeBaron we thought would be a funny car to use in Freddie, because it seems at first glance kind of like a pretty rad fucking car, like it's convertible, but then you really sort of analyze it and it's really just basically like a K car. But we thought that would be fun. We want to initially have a brown one because we saw a lot of brown ones. I don't know why, I decided to make it blue, but oh, excuse me, I'm drinking a coffee right now. It's delicious. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning right now, which is, somewhat early for me. Oh, this part here was completely the get the fuck out of my way thing with that woman. That was just sort of a thing that happened. That extra there basically walked out in front of the car by mistake, and I just thought I'd scream, get the fuck out of my way. And so that only happened in that one take, and we thought it was funny, so so I put it in the movie. And oh, he's screaming, he's happy. He's happy. Know why he's happy? Because really he wanted his son to leave. He was all sad and emotional, but then he leaves, and woohoo! I was actually happy that he's going. I'm not sad. I really wanted to get rid of that dummy. So that's I guess, I don't know if that's irony. Is that irony? Yeah, I think that was a use of irony there. I'm not sure, though, because I don't really know too much about comedy and stuff. Is it irony? I don't know. I'm asking Derek. He's sitting behind me. That's the horse penis there, by the way. I didn't think I had to say right away. That's a giant horse cock. You saw it actually getting erect in the shot, which is exciting. It was soft, and then it was actually, if you want to look back at it and pause it, it's actually a dripping horse cock, because I don't know what the liquid was. There was some sort of liquid on it. We didn't spray liquid on it. I guess it's just like, I'm sure a horse penis naturally has a liquid on it of some sort, which is interesting because, I don't know, my penis doesn't have liquid on it. I don't know. I don't think human penises have liquid on them until, they sometimes have liquid on them, but not just when you're walking around. There's not liquid on your penis, Horses, I guess, have a slick sort of penis thing happening, which is, I think you can learn. When you watch this movie, you can learn and be educated about things like nature and biology and anatomy and things like that. And that's something that you can say to your parents. You can say, "Mom, Dad, you should let me watch Freddy Got Fingered because look what I learned. I learned that horse cock has liquid on it. Okay, unlike human cock, Mom." So it's just this is an R-rated DVD, right? I can say words like cock and liquid and stuff. I guess there's nothing wrong with saying. Sometimes when my voice gets lower, it's because I'm turning around looking at people behind me because I'm embarrassed of the things that I'm saying and I'm checking for their approval. This is me running into the sandwich company here. This was initially, we cut out a bunch of scenes that you can watch just because we wanted to speed up the beginning of the movie. This is me making some cheese sandwiches. And, oh, put the penis on. Do, 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 da, ba, 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 ba. Bubble, oh, penis in the face. Always good for a laugh. Penis in the face, always good for a laugh. Critics loved that joke, actually. The critics really, really, really thought the penis in the face and the horse masturbating stuff was really, right up their alley. So as you may have read, we got some rave reviews on this film. This is me running into radioactive animation. Sneaking in. This method here is the way I like to sneak into the movie theater. See the way you walk, you pretend you know what you're doing, the guy comes up, you don't look at him in the eye, never look him in the eye, and when he says something to you, just say something else that looks, like you think it makes sense. He doesn't really know what you're talking about. But normally a security guard's not this persistent, like at a movie theater if you're sneaking into a movie theater. This guy's pretty persistent.
I got the package you guys ordered.
This is my wife here. My gorgeous wife. Oh, there she is. Hello, Drew. She flew out from New York City to do this. We were shooting the movie in Constantinople, and she flew out from New York City to the shoot because she was shooting another movie at the time. and it was called Riding in Cars with Boys, and that's coming out next year. And she flew out to do this scene for one day, so that was really nice of her, because you know, look at this great scene here. Look at this acting here. You'll see some acting. Watch. What?
His wife is dead.
Your wife is dead. His wife is dead. What?
Linda?
Yeah, Linda, she's dead. She's dead. So I should tell him. Probably best
Watch
that I
the
tell
acting
him.
here. Watch my acting.
For you.
Watch my acting. Oh,
I'm
wait.
Quincy. I'm with the coroner's office. I'm like a police officer.
I'm with the
like a
coroner's
police
office?
So
See,
I should see Mr. Davidson.
this is acting. This is a big acting scene. We wanted to have this up off the top of the movie, a real serious sort of acting scene. You can see how, like, when you look at my eyes in the scene, obviously Drew has no problem with it, but when you look at my eyes, you can see that I'm really, really acting in this. You know, I really, really want to make sure that people can see that, hey, look at this. I'm in a movie. I can act. Look, watch. Here, I'm acting. Here's some more acting. Watch. See the flip of the hair? Me. Okay. Okay, this is serious moment.
Gruesome.
Serious.
That doesn't make
Music.
Not afraid of
The music coming in. Okay, it's serious. Oh, wait, I'm hitting on her. Wait, no, there's a woman dead here. Don't do... See, yeah, that's a... There we go.
Linda is dead.
This
I
is
thought we
fun.
could grieve together over the dead Linda, over the dead woman, over the woman.
I'm just going to let you listen to the acting here.
Off! You're a skinny loser! Someone call security!
Don't call them.
Drew went crazy during the scene, too. She was, like, screaming through the scene. We have a lot of takes we couldn't use, but maybe we should throw some of that stuff on the DVD, some of the extra Drew stuff. That was fun. This is Anthony Michael Hall, and just taking a sip of my coffee. Oh, I'm dressed like an English Bobby. Wait, how'd that happen? And originally we were going to have a scene where I went to a costume shop before this, and I was going to look for a costume and get in a bunch of trouble there, and then, you know, I just decided that, you know, that really wasn't really very important, so we didn't do that. So we still thought it would be fun to have the costume on, so, you know, for absolutely no reason, I'm wearing a police costume, which is fun.
Davidson, I'm an animator. I've got the show.
Oh yeah, Gene Roddenberry, right? Thanks, Derek. Yeah, actually, this is also based on Derek. One of Derek's favorite heroes is Gene Roddenberry because he loves the Star Trek movies, and Derek told me the story, and Derek came up with the scene because he said, you know, listen. Gene Roddenberry, apparently, the way he got Star Trek on the air was, Gene Roddenberry was a cop. He was a motorcycle cop, and he barged into some big fancy Hollywood restaurant on his motorcycle. He drove his motorcycle right into the restaurant, and he threw a script down on the table of some big studio executive that he knew was eating in there, and he said, I want to make this movie. And was it a movie or the TV show? The TV show. So that's how Star Trek was born. So we thought, you know, since that's how Star Trek was born, we should have that in our movie. That's what we thought. That was what was going on in our heads at the time, just in case you're wondering. That's how it all comes together. It all fits together. But here's another big moment. See, this is kind of a very this moment here of me trying to sell my animations to Anthony Michael Hall is a lot like making this movie in a lot of ways, because the animations are, as you can see here, are so stupid. They're so stupid that, you know, he doesn't understand them, doesn't want to make them. You know, that's similar a lot to the television show and to this movie, where the idea is, you know, we've always kind of wanted to make something that was so stupid and doesn't really make a lot of sense, and convince one of these adults, like Anthony Michael Hall here is playing an adult. He's playing a studio executive. See, he's got the nice suit on. He's obviously, you know, a person who is in control, is able to green light a project, and you know, we've come up against that wall, you know, throughout our little lives here with our silly little shows and things we've been making, where people always say, you know, that's too stupid, you can't do that, you know, we're not, you know, this is, you know, and that's what the scene is all about. That's what this movie is all about, actually, you know, really, to be honest with you, is being allowed to make stupid stuff. And in the process, the irony there, again, there's that word, the irony is that the movie itself is stupid, see? So, you know, we're telling the story of not being allowed to make a stupid movie or a stupid animation, eventually figuring out how to make the stupid animation, and then the movie itself is a stupid thing, see? That's what it's all about. This is a Ferrari that we rented in Constantinople. It was the only Ferrari in Constantinople. and we rented it for the day. They let me drive it. That was really cool. That was fun. Anthony Michael Hall had a hard time getting the car in first gear. We did like 20 takes of it. That's the only time I think he was ever able to actually drive the car away. But he was really fun to work with. Obviously, you know, we were really lucky to have Anthony Michael Hall in the movies. You know, it's weird, you know, when you write a movie and all of a sudden you have like real actors in it, and you're thinking, okay, there's, you know, there he is again. You know, it's weird. You know, here I am, real actor, you know, goofball, you know, Goof from Ottawa. That's a dead deer there, and that's sort of based on a skit that happened on the show. Once we were driving through British Columbia on a television show, British Columbia, which is in North America, and we saw this dead moose at the side of the road, and my good friend Derek, who's sitting behind me right now, said, "Hey Tom, there's a dead moose at the side of the road. You gotta get out. You gotta get." It was 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd been sleeping. He said, "You gotta get out. You gotta jump inside the moose. We gotta cut the moose open. You gotta get inside the moose the same way that you know, Luke Skywalker got into the Tauntaun in Empire Strikes Back. And we'll make a segment out of it because we were shooting for the TV show at the time." And I was like, "I'm not getting inside the moose. I didn't want to. It was 6 a.m. I was sleeping. We were hours from a shower." Oh, this is humorous. Here, watch. Oh boy, that hurts. That was a little robot, a robotic mannequin that got hit there, and we just nailed it a few times. Actually, the first time we nailed it, the camera was sort of on the other side, and I didn't really think that the body would slide along in front of the truck like that, but it did. So then we moved the cameras and did it again. And it happened every time where the body would slide along the pavement in front of the truck, and we thought that looked cool, so we shot it like that. But, yeah, so anyways, I didn't want to get inside the dead moose, so, horses fucking, of course, horses fucking. You know, we figured when we were shooting the horse scene, the whack off the horse scene, there was a mare there. The mare is the one that is receiving, by the way. That's the mare. And I guess that's obvious, right? I guess that's obvious. But the mayor was there basically to, oh, there's Andy Malloy getting hit by hitting his face. Oh, bloody. There's so much to talk about, it's hard to fit it all in. But I'm not even going to tell you anymore about the moose thing that happened, because I ran out of time there. But basically, I didn't get in the moose, and then we just humped the moose on the TV show, and that was that. And what was I saying about... Oh, the horses screwing. Yeah, we just decided that we were there horse shooting the whack-off scene, and then we thought, you know, I said to the veterinarian who was on set, you know, is it possible that we could get the horse to have sex with the mare? Like, the mare was just there basically to get the male horse erect. That's the only reason the mare was there. And then, because you bring the mare out, the horse gets erect when it sees the mare, and then, you know, of course you whack off the horse. This is how it works. But, I said, could we actually have them have sex right here? Thinking that he would say no, thinking, you can't do that, this is a movie, this is serious stuff. And they said, no, you can have the horses have sex. So we were lucky enough to make that happen as well, for your enjoyment. There's Rip Torn again. Oh, I don't have to say that every time we see him, do I? But this is me moving back into the parents' basement now, moving back home, which is a lot like my real life, you know, where I ended up, you know, living in my parents' basement for a little while. After I graduated from college, I moved back home because I couldn't get a job, and I was trying to make my television show on community cable, and I wasn't really getting paid, so I lived in their basement for a while and built skateboard ramps at night and stuff like that. So all of this is somewhat, you know, comparable. Really worked hard on this sound effect, by the way. The sound effect of the nail gun. Thought it would be fun to have a really loud electric nail gun. The joke being that I'm hammering with a regular hammer, see? Hammer, 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 which is really loud. And then Harland Williams there, who's hilarious, you know, is my favorite stand-up comic when I was growing up, you know, in Canada when I was 15. Harland is Canadian as well, and he was touring around Canada, and he came to my hometown, and we'd always go see his shows, and he took me out for a submarine sandwich at a popular eating establishment in Ottawa called Fat Albert's, and we went out for a submarine sandwich together, and it was crazy. So again, it's insane, and we're lucky to have him in the movie, and there he is fixing his jacket, and
Say the fruits.
what's the line there? Don't say, What's that? Don't say please. Yeah. A lot of improvisation with Harland around. The bone licking, which you'll see in a second, was never really scripted. You know, that was just a little bit of genius we came up with on the day, you know. Like, hey, you know, there's a bloody bone here. You know, obviously we should lick it. I don't know if I should say that before you see it, but in a second I'm going to lick the bloody bone. We really wanted to sort of, you know, not hold back in any way on this, you know. For better or for worse, we thought, you know, if there's a bloody bone, people may want to see someone lick the bloody bone. You know, people may want to see me lick the bloody bone. Let's not deny them of that. Let's let them see and enjoy that. This is a game, creamer flipping, that you know, basically, maybe I shouldn't be doing this DVD audio commentary because I'm thinking that people are going to think that I'm an idiot, you know, after they listen to it. But the reality of it is you know, growing up. As a young man growing up, my friends and I would often have creamer flipping competitions, where we would go out to restaurants and we would sit together and we would think, you know, we would play the game where who could flip the creamer the most times in a row. And I can't remember who has the record, but sometimes, honestly, and I will be completely honest with you, sometimes it would get up as high as, you know, 21, 22 in a row. So let's set that as a standard. And if you think that you can, you know, if you beat that, you know, write a letter or something to us. And, you know, I think you probably would have to videotape it, though, too, because I don't think I would believe anyone beating 21 in the creamer flipping game. That's Betty. That's Betty. She's played by Marisa Coughlan. And she can. We auditioned like so many people for this part because, you know, we initially this character was written differently in the movie. You'll see in a second that Betty is in a wheelchair, and initially we wrote the idea that Betty was going to be an amputee, and we were going to actually cast a real amputee in the movie, and there was all this crazy stuff we wanted to do. You know, we wanted to lick the stumps of the amputee and all these sort of grotesque type things that, you know, oh, I can't believe it, he's licking the stumps, you know, just sort of witty and clever things like that. And in the casting process, we found several of these amputees who wanted to be actors, and they flew in from all across the country, and they read the scene. But we actually had a hard time finding someone who could actually, you know, perform the emotional, you know, requirements of this character, because there is a real sort of love story in the movie, a real serious love story, and we wanted that to stay intact. So because we couldn't really find an actual, you know, real amputee who could act and act well enough to do it, we started looking at real actresses, and Marisa was just, you know, hands down the best. She was a great improviser, and we had a lot of fun making the movie with her. We'll see more of her in a second. This is my favorite scene in the movie right now. You know, making the movie, you know, we had a lot of times where people would say that we had to take scenes out, or, you know, soften scenes, take shots out because it was too graphic, or you know, too grotesque, or what have you. None of the scenes that we actually really deleted that are on the DVD, which are considered deleted scenes, hardly any of them were. I don't think any of them were taken out for that reason, because it was too gross. We actually were, you know, I was able to kind of basically, you know, argue, you know, probably shouldn't have argued as hard as I did, but argue with the studio and with the people that make these decisions, and say, you know, guys, can we just keep this stuff in? And this is one of the scenes that people were really concerned about, because you'll see in a second there's quite a bit of blood in this scene, and, you know, of course this is of course delivering the baby, and I always liked in the Monty Python movies, like in The Meaning of Life, one of my favorite moments in that movie was the Monty Python movie Meaning of Life, when the woman's just standing there and the baby falls out of her dress, and it's all bloody and gross. Or the liver, the liver donor, organ donor people come and rip the livers out of the people. Rip the livers out of the people, ripping the livers out of the people. I like that kind of stuff. So I thought it would be fun to have a real, because you always see these baby delivering scenes in movies, these wacky, oh no, I'm having my baby right now scenes, and then they, you know, everybody sort of delivers the baby and it's all clean and you don't see anything. I thought it would be fun to really, oh, see it. My feet right there, the shoes The shoes that I'm wearing are actually hammered into the floor. They're screwed into the floor so I could fly back. And the umbilical cord is actually a metal cable that is attached to a harness around my back. So I basically was able to throw all my weight into it. And then we switched and cut this scene. This obviously I'm not biting a metal cable in half there. Then we switched shots, and that's a rubber umbilical cord, and we had some strawberry jam and stuff pumping through it. Yep, swinging the baby. See, I always wanted to shoot a baby scene that was a baby birth scene, a birth scene that was actually realistic. So that's why. That's why, as everyone knows, when a baby is born, in order to get it breathing, the doctor swings the baby around by the umbilical cord. And everybody knows that a doctor, bites the umbilical cord in half, not using metal shears or a knife or a scalpel or anything like that. They bite it in half to simulate what happens in the wild with animals. In the wild, in the caveman days, they didn't have sharp instruments to cut the umbilical cord in half. They had to bite it in half, and that's what we do. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. Maybe this isn't making sense. Maybe this wasn't a good idea, the DVD audio commentary. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. This is a doctor kicking me out. This is actually a reference to a video. Oh, we should put that in. Don't touch my shoulder. Don't touch my shoulder. We should try and get this on the DVD. When I was like, we can get that on the DVD, right? We can find that tape somewhere. I hope we can find that tape somewhere. When I was like 16 years old, I got kicked out of like an opera house or something, because I was like, we did this English project where I walked up on stage and I was reading Othello or something like that on a stage, but they were trying to put a play on at the same time, so then I got kicked out by a security guard. But there was this great moment in the video where we were making where the guy was roughhousing me, and I said, don't touch my shoulder, man, don't touch my shoulder. And we took that video back to school, and like we all sat around and watched the video, and we were like, oh my god, the part where you say don't touch my shoulder, man, that's crazy. So that's what that was. There was a reference that we should try to get that tape and put it on the DVD. We'll track it down, but if we can't, hopefully my explanation and description of it was sufficient enough for your mind's eye to enjoy. Mummy. That's Marisa again. And this is another one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I like the... There we go. That's a big rocket there. Look at that. Wow. What a rocket. Some coffee. Yeah. Yeah. This is kind of like, fun to see. My character's not a cool guy. Gord isn't like a... He's intimidated around these sexually aggressive women. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know what to do here. He's nervous. She's making him nervous. Bamboo sticks, He doesn't know what this is all about. He's living in his parents' basement. So we thought it was all right to, we actually thought that Betty was a really empowering, character for, for not only for the handicapped and for a female character. This is a woman who knows what she wants. And she's, a very sexually aggressive woman who says she sees what she wants and she goes for it. And she doesn't let the fact that she's confined to a wheelchair slow her down any. She's going to live her life just the way anybody would. And I think that's a good, positive message as I beat her legs with a bamboo stick. As I beat the handicapped woman's legs with a bamboo stick, I say, this is a good, positive message. But I think it is, because when you watch the movie, you'll see there's not really, a plethora of, hey, let's make some, wheelchair jokes or handicap jokes. This character is basically somebody who is playing the scenes exactly as somebody who, hit her in the face with a bamboo stick. But she asked for it, see? I mean, no, I don't mean like that. I mean, she actually asked me to hit her with it, is what I mean. Like, she said, here, hit me with the stick. And then Gord, she didn't ask for it. I mean, I'm not saying she asked for it like that. I'm saying, like, she actually asked. She said, hit me with the pole, and I didn't want to hit her. You know what? Now I'm digging a hole for myself. I think I'm digging a hole for myself. Should we stop and rewind, or no, that's fine. We'll keep going, right? We're fine? Yeah. She asked me to do it, so we figured it was all right. And then Gord didn't understand. Gord was, okay, she likes me hitting her, so then he ended up hitting her in the face. And oh boy, what a big misunderstanding. It's like an episode of Three's Company, almost, I didn't know you didn't want me to hit you in the face with the bamboo stick. Was that an episode of Three's Company? Yeah. With Janet. Janet said, beat my legs with this bamboo stick, Jack. Yeah. Are we going to try and put the John Ritter interview on the DVD? John Ritter interviewed me for the movie. It'd be fun to put that on the DVD. And of course, Gord has taken the umbilical cord and taped it to his stomach because he's just a crazy guy. Okay, I can work around it.
My umbilical cord.
Now, originally, this was going to be something different. The baby scene, we initially had the baby scene was going to be a completely different scene where I was going to go in and Darwin was going to be in the hospital. And I was going to put a catheter on, like a Texas catheter it's called, where it's like a condom that's attached to a tube and all this stuff. And I was going to get it stuck. I was going to use this medical glue and it was going to get stuck to my penis and I wasn't going to be able to get it off. Then cut to this scene and I was still going to have this catheter on and she was going to work around it, so to speak. But at one point, Derek and I just decided, we didn't really think the catheter scene was really that clever, that witty. And so we changed it to the swinging the bloody baby above the head instead. We thought that would be much more original than just sort of a pee-pee humor thing with, peeing all over the place. There's nothing wrong with peeing all over the place, but you can really, analyze this movie and say, I think we kind of took the high road here. There's no pee and there's no poo in this movie, And I think in the, potty humor world, I think this could be coming in, somewhere, along the lines of, an Annie Hall, Because there's not a lot of poo-poo and pee-pee in this. This is a real clever piece of material you're watching. So, here's Rip. Oh, I don't have to say that every time he enters. We know who he is. I keep forgetting. We know who Rip is. We've introduced him at the very beginning of the movie. This scene is very similar to something that would happen to me growing up in my life, where in my parents' basement, where I would take these showers because I found that the shower was the only place I could really find any privacy. In my house, because we lived in a small house, and my parents were always kind of nagging at me, go, mow the lawn, wash the dishes, do your homework, stop skateboarding in front of the house, whatever. So if I wanted to find a private place to be alone, I would go in the shower and masturbate. Now, since I, didn't want to, of course, that's disgusting. I don't want to say that on a DVD, do I? I don't want to say that. But we thought that it would be kind of inappropriate and probably silly to be, have a masturbation scene in the movie. So we thought we'd sort of combine that with the scuba gear and make it kind of silly. But the point is, the masturbation has nothing to do with what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about was, my parents would come down, they'd knock on the door, and they'd say, "Yeah, you're taking too long of a shower. Get out of the shower." And eventually one day I started going into the shower and I would actually turn the shower on, then I'd lock the door from the inside and I wouldn't even be in the washroom. I'd lock the bathroom door and I'd go like skateboard up to McDonald's and grab a Big Mac or something, and the shower would be going and my dad would be freaking out, and eventually he'd kick the door down, and it was crazy, some of the practical jokes that I would play in my youth on my parents. It was just crazy. I wish you could have been there. I wish you could have all been there. This is Eddie Kaye Thomas from the popular teen comedies American Pie and American Pie 2. And Eddie Kaye Thomas is a wonderful, wonderful young actor, very fun to work with. Always nails every scene quite nicely. Really enjoy his deadpan delivery. It was really fun to do these scenes. He's a great guy. We were lucky to get him in the movie. It's weird, when, again, I was saying earlier, when you write one of these movies, my friend and I write this movie, and we're thinking, oh, we've never written a movie before. We don't know how to write a movie. Then all of a sudden, 20th Century Fox, is releasing this movie that we wrote, and you realize, we got, like, real actors coming in, like Eddie Kaye Thomas, Anthony Michael, Rip Torn, and all the people in the movie, and that was exciting for us, because, we're, dumb. This is me drawing. You saw me drawing there. That scene was initially a much more elaborate scene where it was actually a scene where I started drawing and I got all upset and I smashed a mirror and all this stuff, and it was over the Doors music, The End. and it was sort of a mockery of the Apocalypse Now scene where Martin Sheen, you know, smashes the mirror and all that stuff. But then, you know, the Doors wanted like $400,000 for the music. So, like, you know. And the Doors actually recorded in this recording studio, didn't we? This recording studio that we're in right now, doing this DVD thing, apparently. Because we're in Hollywood. We're in Hollywood right now. It's crazy. I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I think I can actually still sort of smell the Doors a little bit. I can kind of smell a little sort of Jim Morrison kind of... I don't know what Jim Morrison would smell like, though. That doesn't make any sense. But he was in here. And anyways, we couldn't get the music, so we had to change that scene. That kind of sucks, you know. There's all these logistics involved in making a movie, you know. And, you know, I was directing this thing, and I've never directed a movie before. And, you know, you got, you know, the music supervisor, who's a great guy, comes in, he's like, you know, hey, we can't get the Doors. And you're like, oh, but, you know, I got this great scene. You couldn't get it. So, then, you know, but all the music in the movie, you know, we got most of the music we wanted in the movie. So that was good. That was one of the things we couldn't get because it just cost too much money. You can't give somebody $400,000, you know, for a piece of music in this movie. You know, I don't know what I'm talking about. $400,000 is a lot of money, you know. Here my father is... believes I have a job. So anyways, there's Rip Torn. And this is the scene where Dad comes home and I've told him I've got a job. And that was the Backwards Man, actually, is what that was as well. Which was basically something we thought of the night before. You know, we had, what was in that scene originally? Oh, right. We had this little song that I was going to do in Daddy's suit. I was going to sing about being a stockbroker. And sometimes, like, right before you start to shoot something, you think, God, this feels kind of lame, you know, singing about being a stockbroker. And we'd written it in the script, you know, a year earlier, and I never really felt that it was that funny, but it was always there, and it was always looming, you know, getting a few weeks closer to shooting the stockbroker dance, we called it, and I was always sort of dreading it. So then the night before, I said, okay, look, we're shooting this thing tomorrow. I don't want to do this stupid stockbroker dance. So let's come up with something clever and witty and intelligent. And that's where the Backwards Man came from, right there. So that's what we came up with. This is, I actually think I'm going to start wearing white shirts more because of this scene, actually. I don't know. Like, I don't tend to really think about clothing too much. You know, I tend to like just to wear more sort of skateboard apparel. But when I see myself in that white shirt, I have to say I think it looks pretty good. This is a fun shot. This is one of those movie shots. See how it starts on the instrument there, and then it pans all the way over, and oh, there's the scene right there starting. Doesn't that feel like a movie? That's not a television show you're watching there. That's a movie. That is a major motion picture. That is a motion picture. Big screen excitement. And this is what could I say about the restaurant scene exactly? What could I say about the restaurant scene? That this is Andy Malloy again. Oh, he's still bruised from the what happened to him earlier. What could I say about the restaurant scene? What can I tell the people that they might not know about it? Oh, I know what I can tell them about it. I know what I can tell you about the restaurant scene. Another thing that, you know, in a few minutes in this scene, I have a fake cellular telephone that I have the phone from the house, and I have a tape recorder with ringing sounds, and I try to trick Betty into thinking that I actually am cool enough to own a cellular telephone. That's actually something that I did with my friend Phil Giroux, who's on the television show, the guy who's usually in the window on the TV show just laughing in the background. Well, he's a good friend of mine who I grew up with, and we used to skateboard together. And one day when we were like 16, we put on our father's suits, and we went down to this fancy restaurant in our hometown, and we made reservations and everything. We didn't have any money. We went into this fancy restaurant, and we'd filled our briefcase, our father's briefcase, with all these like graphs and stuff we made, because we wanted to pretend to be businessmen. We wanted people to think that we were graphs like that. We wanted people to think we were like cool businessman. So we filled it with graphs that we made on our Commodore 64, and we brought our tape recorder like that, and we'd recorded phone ringing sounds, because like nobody had cellular telephones. This was, in 1974 or something like that, and no one had cellular telephones at the time. It was crazy. So I brought like a red phone from the kitchen, and we recorded phone ringing sounds, and then we would, I would answer the phone with my friend, and we'd be passing graphs back and forth. And I actually remember, when I was 16 years old, yelling the words, "Clean out your locker at the club, you're fucking fired, Bob," which is, essentially the same line in the movie. It's kind of fun, it's kind of fun to be allowed to make a movie just for your own personal entertainment, to watch the movie and have all these fun memories that date back to, my childhood. I mean, there's probably about, 75 to anywhere between 75 and 600 jokes in this movie that nobody gets except for me and my friends, which is, pretty enjoyable. I'll try and explain some of them because there's no way anyone could get them, because they're references to things that we enjoy. For instance, when I'm talking to Betty at the beginning of the scene and saying, you have to invest when stocks are high. Sometimes they're high, sometimes they're low. And I'm chewing like that. I'm making that chewing sound. It's investments, consulting. That's basically my friend Phil. Talks like that because he's crazy, and he likes to invest in the stock market. So basically, that was a little when we watched the movie at the premiere, and I was doing that, Phil was like the only one laughing at that scene. It was fun for us because there was an entire theater full of people watching the scene. I was like, I like to invest when it's high and sometimes it's low, and high and it's low. And then Phil was going off in the middle of the theater, which was interesting. I think it's interesting that we have wasted so much money to entertain ourselves. Really. No, I think people enjoyed the scene, though. I hope they did. I hope they did, huh? Jeez. Can I get in trouble for anything I say on this DVD recording? Is somebody from the studio going to say, what? You didn't tell us that joke was just to entertain your friend? Can I get in trouble for that? Okay, so, anyways, Dad pulls out the tape recorder, and sometimes I think to myself, do I have to explain what's going on in the movie? I probably don't, because you're watching the movie. You can turn the audio track off, and it's pretty self-explanatory, I think. If I did my job as a director, hopefully I don't have to sit here and actually explain what's happening. Now Dad's pulling out the tape recorder, and now he's turning the tape. Now Dad is, I'm throwing the beans. I'm throwing some green beans. And now Rip is throwing a bottle. And it hits Andy Malloy in the head. The waiter says, "What are you doing? This is a fancy restaurant." I say, "This is a fancy restaurant. This is a fancy restaurant." Jump, kick the glass, and play the violin. Spanking, spanking. You want a spanking? And I break the violin. Slow motion, and I pull out the taps, and I squirt the... See, I don't have to do that, because you can see that. You can see that happening. This is a big moment. See, I like the... gun going off. That's not a real gun. It's blanks. And it's interesting, that shot where she says, "Get off the bar, asshole." We ran out of time to shoot that shot, when we were shooting the restaurant scene. So we shot it like weeks later in like a warehouse, and we just basically put up an orange wall, or a pinkish orange wall behind her. We're in a warehouse. It's not even in the same restaurant. It looks like it's in the same, because we cut to her saying, "Get off the bar, asshole," but she's not even in the same restaurant. We didn't even shoot that on the same day. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy how movies work? This is no, not fruits. I like this scene. It's all one shot, We're talking and walking at the same time, which is difficult, because you have to chew your gum, you have to remember your lines, you have to put one foot in front of the other, and you have to do all that at once, which is tough. This little moment here where I laugh, and my ear actually did pop there, so I thought it'd be fun just to say it. My ear just popped, and I thought it was great when Marisa sort of came back with a funny, I think I heard it line, which was sort of an improvised line, and, I enjoyed that, so I thought, we should keep that in the movie. Now we're going off to the sausage on the fingers. The daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? Big moment for the movie, I think. Bling, 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 bling. And this is actually something I always have loved doing, was taping meat to my head on our television show on community cable. That was the first video I ever did on the Tom Green Show on community cable, like 8 years ago, was a character called Meathead, where I would basically walk around downtown with and interview people with meat taped to my head, and we wouldn't acknowledge that there was meat on my head. And that's why I have meat taped on my head in this movie. Again, entertaining ourselves. And what's happening here? What could I say about this scene? What could I tell the people about this scene other than the meat backstory? It's a fun scene. Got to play some music in the scene. Oh, Dad's coming home. Daddy's coming home. I find it difficult to... I want to explain to everybody what's going on right now, too, by the way. I'm watching a television and talking to you about what's going on about the movie into the microphone at the same time. And that's tricky because, like, I'm the kind of person that gets really mesmerized by visual stuff. So when I'm watching the television, I can't concentrate on what I'm supposed to be saying. So I actually find I talk best when I close my eyes and look down at the table or look into my coffee. Because when I look up at the TV, I get mesmerized. Oh, I'm looking at the TV now. Oh, kicking the keyboard. I can't think about what I'm supposed to be saying. So I'm just explaining to you that if I ever sound a little, you know, like when you're talking to someone on the telephone and they kind of sound distant, and then you say, "Are you watching television right now?" And they say, "Yeah, I'm watching television." And you say, "Turn off your television if you're going to talk to me on the phone, because you're not concentrating on the conversation." That's kind of what's happening right now while I'm doing this DVD thing. It's kind of hard to talk to you guys about the movie when every time I look up at the screen here, I get distracted by the screen. Because, I mean, I've seen the movie 400, gazillion times. I sat in an editing room for 8 months cutting the thing together. But for some reason, it still draws me in. This would have been a nightmare for me because, you work so hard building your skateboard ramp. It was always a dream for me to have a mini half-pipe in my backyard. I was never allowed to do it. We didn't have any room to build one. So I used to build launch ramps and quarter pipes and stuff like that. Busted my arm up really bad once on my quarter pipe when I was like 16 years old. Broke it it was one of those breaks where the arm was bent like at a 90-degree angle halfway between the wrist and the elbow. So I had this sort of zigzag thing. And then my mother drove me to the hospital, and Huey Lewis was playing on the radio. I remember that. And I sang, it was actually not Power of Love this time, but rather the old favorite, Heart of Rock and Roll. And I sang along with the radio to try and keep my mind off the horrible break that I had. What's going on here? I don't know if you enjoy the music in the movie, but you hear this sort of melody that's playing, this nice music that reoccurs throughout the movie. That was original score that we did, that Mike Simpson did actually, who was from the Dust Brothers. And he scored a few movies. He scored Fight Club, and he scored Road Trip, and he also is just a great music producer. He's produced some of I think 2 of Beck's albums. He produced my favorite album of all time. He produced Beastie Boys' Paul's Boutique, and that was cool to have him working with us. He made all the music that wasn't sort of a recognizable song. He produced all the music. Like, he didn't produce, for instance, he didn't produce the Sex Pistols' Problems. He didn't make that music. And he didn't produce the Slim Shady Eminem song that's in the credit roll. But he did produce all the sort of score in the movie. This music that's playing right now, he made this music. And it was fun to work with somebody who knew what he was doing, because we had a lot of people that knew what they were doing on the movie. It was neat, like technical people, and it was fun to be able to meet them and work with them. This is the big moment, the big why is the movie called Freddy Got Fingered? Oh, that's why. Obviously, Rip never, Jim never did finger Freddy. I think some people were concerned that it wasn't clear enough, people wanted to be very sure that people were aware that, you know, Jim's character never did finger Freddie. I just want to say right now that if you didn't get that from the movie, well, you know, Freddie never was actually fingered. It was actually just Gord's way of getting back at his father. This is my surgery. Was lying about it and saying that he got fingered. That's actually my surgery there. I don't know if you've seen on my on our MTV cancer special, but that's my cancer surgery right there when I was getting my lymph nodes removed last year. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to have a cameo in my own movie where you see my intestines. And that was basically taken from the MTV special that we did, the cancer special, which sort of documented my fight with cancer. So that's kind of neat too to have in the movie. That's kind of fun. I always think that's kind of fun to be. I actually get shy and tongue-tied when I talk about the cancer. That's why I'm having a hard time thinking of what to say right now. So I'm just going to stop talking about the cancer, I think. Let's talk about the fingering and stop talking about the cancer.
What are you talking about? My dad doesn't finger me.
What? My dad doesn't finger me.
I'm not going anywhere.
I'm a 25-year-old man. See? That's it. The guy's a 25-year-old man. All these people got all upset. They were saying, oh, we're making fun of, you know, child abuse and all this stuff. And, you know, it's just a movie, people. You know, it's just a movie. You know, he's a 25-year-old man. And, you know, people were very, you know, people got really upset. You know, certain people got upset by the movie. And I think it's silly because it's just supposed to be a goofy comedy. And people were, you know, writing articles saying that I was ugly and stuff. Some guy wrote an article. He said he thought I was ugly. He said some guy, I can't remember what magazine, I think it was Entertainment Weekly. They said the only reason I have a goatee is to cover my ugly face. I thought that was a little harsh. But, you know, the critics, you know, this wasn't a critical favorite. Anyways, I think some people were, you know, offended by some of the extreme sort of scenes in the movie, and they thought that maybe it was just sort of silly, or, you know, they were attacking the sort of gross nature of the movie. And, you know, I think, you know, I don't know. Anyways, I don't really want to talk sour grapes about how, you know, I thought it was mean that, you know, Owen Gleiberman at Entertainment Weekly called me ugly. But anyways, let's go into the scene. We'll talk more about the critical acclaim of Freddy Got Fingered in a little bit, because we got plenty of time. This is a scene where Rip Torn, you know, pulls his pants down and shakes his buttocks around. So, you know, if that's not clever enough for you, Owen Gleiberman, then I don't know what is. But this was a big moment because we really wanted to have you know, this scene happen. And when Rip came in to meet with me about doing the movie, I said, you know, we really feel strongly about the father character pulling his pants down and saying, you want to fuck me in the movie. Is that something you're going to feel comfortable doing? And Rip was like, oh, yeah, I did, you know, Payday. I wiped my ass. He did a movie called Payday in the 70s. He said, in Payday, I wiped my ass with a speeding ticket. And he was a good guy about it. So here we go. Bum, bum, bum. And see, oh, Mom sees him shaking his buttocks and thinks, oh my gosh, he really is a sexual pervert, this guy. He's now, not only is he fingering Freddie, but he's asking Gord to fuck him. And obviously this is another Three's Company-esque misunderstanding, where she sees something that she thinks is the case, but really it's actually something else that's going on. It's a play on words. I said to Dad, fuck you, Dad, and he said, you want to fuck me? Okay. And he was making a little joke, but she comes around the corner the way Suzanne Summers or Janet would or Chrissy would, and overhears something going on and thinks it means something else entirely. So this is a sad moment for Gord, and over the sound of Moby, Gord walks through the rain and quits his dream of becoming an animator, throwing his dream into the garbage, his animations that he's worked so hard on, and back to where he said he would never go again. Submarine Supreme, making cheese sandwiches. But Betty, she's not giving up. She's still back on the runway, and she's got her rocket-powered wheelchair. She's been working on it. She's gonna test it out today, because oh, damn, it doesn't work. But you know what? I bet you she's not gonna quit. I bet you she's gonna keep on trying. See, there's a story in this movie. See? There's a nice story. It's a story about a dream, okay? I think a lot of people thought that it was just there's stuff that was like, cause I mean, the critics hated the movie, right? They really hated it. I've never read worse reviews of a movie in my entire life. I don't think I've ever read a worse review of a movie. There was a lot of really, really, really bad reviews, weren't there? Like some really, really horrible ones. Specifically, you know, when they start attacking you personally, viciously attacking you personally. You know, calling you an idiot or this is me. And as you can see, I'm quite upset about it, you know, because I worked on this movie for like 2 years, you know, sitting in and I like it. I love the movie still. I'm proud of the movie, you know. I watched the movie and I think, holy shit, man, I can't believe they let us whack off a fucking horse in a movie. I'm sucking off a cow, you know, we're swinging a baby around. You know how hard it is to get a studio to allow you to do something like that? To get people with money to invest money into letting you whack off a horse in a movie? That's not easy shit. That's like, that took a lot of arguing and... No, you gotta let us whack off the horse. It's important. You know? It was back and forth for years thinking, you know what? People are gonna like this. People are gonna like seeing a horse get masturbated. And then it comes out and all the newspaper people are all... Because I think people, you know, the sexually molested children, people want to see that. I do. I like that stuff. Am I crazy? Is there something wrong with me? Maybe I'm now realizing I think that maybe I have a very serious problem. Maybe. You know, the problem is I think all these people that work in the newspapers and stuff, they're all old. You know, they're all old. You know, people. And they're bored, and they review all these movies every day, and then they see some goof from MTV, you know, who goes, you know, I'm gonna write, and he's directing the movie. Obviously, they're gonna want to slam it, you know. They're pissed off. They're cynical people. I hate them. I hate them all. Okay, so this is back at the. Should I stop talking about the critics, or should I keep talking about the critics? Let's talk about the movie. Okay. I like talking about this is a bit we did on our TV show once where we put a bunch of cheese on a sandwich. I hope we can get some of these bits for the DVD, but this is you know, the frustration is very apparent here. Gord is a frustrated man. You know, everyone's worked at these jobs. You know, I used to work at a Dairy Queen when I was 15 years old, and I worked there, you know, for like 2 years. Not 2 years when I was 15, obviously, because you can only be 15 for 1 year. So I guess I worked there when I was 15 and 16. And I was fired from that job because I threw an onion at my boss. A few years later, anyways, I was fired from my job because I threw an onion at my boss. And, you know, it's a frustrating thing to work, you know, in those kinds of jobs sometimes when you're a teenager and you know you have all these other things you can do and want to do, but you just got to grow up and prove to people that you can do them. You know, again, that's obviously what this sort of theme of this movie is saying to people, look, you know, you got to kind of work at what you want to do and prove to people what you can do, and sometimes you have to sit through those cheese sandwich jobs or the Dairy Queen jobs or, you know, or what have you. I never fingered Freddie. Oh, and there's Andy Moy again. Oh boy. This was the first day of shooting right here. This shot. And a lot of the people in the crew, I mean, I think they were a little concerned that they were involved in something that was not necessarily the most noble piece of cinema they'd ever worked on. Because, you know, these are people that make professional movies. The crew is, you know, 100 people or more. There's cameramen and production assistants and assistant directors and you know, PAs and people running all over the place. PAs are production assistants. I'm an idiot. But, you know, the thing is there's tons of people working on the movie and lighting people and all sorts of stuff. And they're watching, and they were, you only see a second, but we probably shot a good 10 minutes of that little boy screaming with blood all over his face on that first day. And I don't think people really... maybe we should put that raw footage on the DVD as well. Let's do that. We just made that decision. Maybe we can put that in the DVD. Andy Malloy screaming with blood on his face. Um,
Don't call me kid, okay?
Sir,
and here we go.
your authority here at Submarine Supreme.
This young kid was he was a good guy. He'd never been in a movie before, I don't think. I recall, and a lot of young gentlemen come in to audition for this part of the submarine shop manager, and he was a good kid. And this music here is Green Day playing. Green Day playing as I go off to get a job. They're a good bunch of guys, those guys. They came down and checked out some of the movie and came into the edit room while I was cutting it and checked out some of the movie, and then they said they would give us this song, which was cool. Because it's neat, you know. It's still neat to me, you know, not having really lived in, you know, the big city that long in Los Angeles. You know, I kind of get excited when these sort of, you know, big sort of celebrities and stuff come in and like look like the Green Day came into the edit room and watched the movie, which I thought was pretty cool. And, you know, we get like people like Rip Torn and Harland and all that stuff in the movie. It still freaks me out because I don't really, you know, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now, you know? Should I have another coffee break? Can we have another coffee break? Okay, we're back. Okay, I just went and had a coffee. Okay, so this is, again, this time, no fooling around, just runs in. This is all seen here when you'll see, oh, I'm screaming through here. And this is the big moment. This is the big moment where this was a fun scene to shoot, actually, because basically there was tons of a lot of improvising in this scene. Anthony and Michael Hall really kind of just went with it, and we just kind of goofed off. And you know, half the dialogue in this scene is just kind of was coming off the top of her head. All the stuff about you know, Greek mythology and you know, Clash of the Titans and African American Greek myths, and all these lines were all basically just kind of blabbered out of our mouth, as you can probably tell. Because who would write something like that, right? Certainly, but it was fun. It was fun working with Anthony Michael Hall. Oh, here's something that's interesting. Anthony Michael Hall actually had a broken nose the day we shot this. You know, he I guess I don't know how it happened, but he had a broken nose. And he showed up to the set, and he was really worried about it because he had a big bruise under his eye and his nose was broken. But we put some makeup on him and he shot that whole scene with a broken nose. If you look right there on the desk, you can see the little note. It says, "I love my husband." See the pink note that Drew wrote, and she stuck it on the desk there and didn't tell me until the end of the day. But she of course was referring to me. Thank you very much. Thank you. But if you go back and look at that little sticky piece of paper stuck on her desk, she stuck that on there. It's a sweet little message that she did, a little subtle little hidden message that she sent for all of you to enjoy, for me to enjoy as well. Bling, 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 bling. Bling, 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 do. Sweet little message for me to enjoy. Sweet little message for me to enjoy. Sweet little message for you to enjoy. Sweet little message. Sorry, I'm wasting time here. You want to hear interesting and enlightening stories about the behind the scenes of Freddy Got Fingered. You don't want to hear me sing like a I don't know what that singing was like, but okay, this is the big moment, the moment we've all been waiting for. He's gonna give Gord $1 million for his stupid little drawings, and this of course is the money that will then go on to finance Gord's war with his father. See, this is the thing, you know. All he really wanted to do was be able to make enough money to move out of his parents' basement. Now he's got the money. He's got the $1 million. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna move out of his parents' basement? No. Oh, here's the animations. Okay. Here's the animations here. These were done by a gentleman named Chris Prynoski, who was a very nice gentleman, and he did work on MTV's animated show Beavis and Butthead, as well as many other shows and projects. And basically, you know, Derek and I wrote the dialogue to this, and then recorded it in a recording studio, and all these little voices. I did all these stupid little voices in a recording studio, and we sent the tape off to Chris, and he drew all the... Ow, and that hurts. I can't watch that moment, by the way, with the sound. I can't watch the moment. That's something weird about me, I think, where I have to look away from the screen while the teeth are grinding on the pavement, because for some reason I just can't... that hurts my eyes. It's like nails on a chalkboard kind of feeling, you know, when you have the nails on a chalkboard. What was I talking about right before the animations started? I was talking about something that I thought was interesting. Oh, well. Oh, yeah, you're right. He's got the money. He can buy the shark and put it on the roof of his car now if he wants to. Gord can. He can do anything he wants, but, you know, his father's got him so upset and angry that, you know, this is more about payback time now than it is about moving out of his parents' basement. And you can see Darren is wearing a neck brace from when Rip banged him against the wall earlier and roughhoused him. We initially had this moment here where Darren said, that'd be fun to put on DVD too, where Darren said, you don't have to live in your parents' basement anymore. It's over, man. It's over. And then I initially, in our initial cut, I looked at the camera and I said, no, it's not over, man. Or he said it's over. No, what did he said it's over, and then we were going to run the whole credit roll for the movie, like 2 minutes long, and then we were hoping that people would get up and walk out of the movie, and then it's hard. Am I explaining myself well? No, I'm not. I'm realizing I'm not. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to not look at the screen, and I'm going to try to explain myself. We were initially going to stop and run the entire credit roll here, and then we were going to stop the credit roll, and then I was going to look in the camera and say, no, it's not over. I still have to do all this crap to my father, and then I was going to go rent the helicopter and do all this shit to my father. But we tested that out on a few audiences, and we realized that by this point in the movie, most of the audiences had already walked out. So most of the audience walked out during the baby scene. So there was no point doing the fake credit roll joke. Do you think I explained myself well there, Derek? Do you think people will know what I'm talking about? It's a DVD. You can rewind it and listen to it again. I'm not an articulate man, you know. This is it's a lot. This is a favorite scene of mine. I almost want to just stop and watch it. I almost want to just stop and watch this scene. This is an emotional scene, and I think some of the people that criticized this movie failed to see the ironies in these moments. You know, I think they were looking at the movie like a gross-out movie. You know, oh, a bunch of gross stuff happens. I don't think people realized sort of the mockery that was going on, mocking gross-out things. We were mocking gross-out comedy in a sense by making things too gross, and I think we were mocking movies a little bit by making things too emotional with the emotional music. And there's another scene at the end of the movie that's very emotional where I'm on the ground and talking to my father. We'll see that in a minute. But this is again another, you know, mockery of a, you know, classic movie moment. You know, the emotional boy and girl get together, all is happy, and then of course Betty says, "I don't want your jewels, Gord." She says, you know, she just wants to suck my cock and all that stuff. So, you know, it's gross out comedy. That's what it is. But you know, it's fun. We think it's fun, and this is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie, because I think it's just sort of a great mockery of one of these sort of overly repetitive, you know, classic movie moments where there's always, in all these comedy movies, they've always got the boy and girl love story going on the side, and it's always just the same thing over and over again. So we thought it'd be fun to kind of throw a little curveball, and that was our curveball there. Hope you enjoyed the curveball. Now I'm going off to save the day, and I'm gonna shake around. That was fun. At the end of the day that day, the helicopter pilot took us up on a helicopter ride. my wife and I, my wife was actually in town at that time, and we got to get taken up on a helicopter ride at the end of the day, and we went up and we got flown around the city, and the doors were off the helicopter and all that stuff. And then the next day we found out that, that's crazy to fly around in a helicopter with the doors off. We didn't even have seat belts on and stuff. So we could have been killed. But anyways, it's fun. It was the first time I've ever rode in a helicopter before. It was exciting. We got to fly all around the Constantinople area. If you ever have a chance to take a helicopter ride, I would say you should really do it, because it certainly is a lot of fun riding in a helicopter. This is my God, you would not believe what just happened. I just took a sip of my cup of coffee. Holy shit. And like there's a stir stick in the coffee, and I literally swallowed the stir stick. It went halfway down my throat, and I swear to God, I almost died right here making this DVD recording. I almost swallowed a full coffee stir stick. It was crazy. Again, probably not what you paid for. When you bought the DVD and heard there was audio commentary, you probably wanted to hear about the movie. And you probably spent your money thinking, I'm going to get to hear some behind-the-scenes stories about the movie that I never would have expected or known had I not bought the DVD. And instead you hear me talking about swallowing a stir stick. So, that may be disappointing. I'm not sure. But it is a fact. I don't want to bullshit you, I don't want to bullshit you here. I'm sitting here. I take a sip of my coffee. I swallow the fucking stir stick. What, am I supposed to ignore that? What, am I supposed to not say anything to you about it? I mean, for crying out loud, what do you want? Do you want bullshit or do you want reality? Tell me. Do you want bullshit or reality? I could, stop the tape. Stop the tape, rewind. I just swallowed my stir stick. This is embarrassing, I don't want to do that shit. I don't want to bullshit you people. This is fucking reality, man. I swallowed my fucking stir stick, man. I swallowed my fucking stir stick. The movie's self-explanatory. Come on, let's get real. It's a fucking movie, It's meant to be understood on its own. You don't need my audio commentary to explain what's going on. Probably more interesting to hear that I swallowed a stir stick. How many times have you swallowed a stir stick? Probably never. I know I never have swallowed a stir stick before, until today. I'll probably never swallow one again either, because I'm going to be much more careful when I drink coffee in the future. I'm going to make sure that I don't have a stir stick in my coffee cup. Okay, so this is bringing the house to Pakistan. This was always a dream on the television show to do this, because on our television show we always used to do stuff to my parents, wake them up in the middle of the night, paint their car, paint their house plaid, all that stuff. And we always had this dream that we would chloroform my parents and then move the entire house to Istanbul or something like that, and then they'd wake up the next day and they'd be in Istanbul. But that just seemed logistically impossible. A, because we didn't know where to get chloroform, and B, because everyone talks about chloroform like it's this great idea. Oh, you put it on a rag and you put it over someone. If it you'd think it would be easier to get, because that's pretty cool to just walk up to someone and knock them out like that, no problems. But anyways, we couldn't get chloroform, and we also didn't have the sort of budget on our little TV show to, move my parents' house to Istanbul. Plus, we probably would have gotten I probably would have gotten in trouble. I would have been grounded. Son, we've decided to take your allowance and your skateboard away, and you're grounded because you've destroyed you've destroyed our home. You've destroyed everything that we've worked our entire lives to build. So you're grounded, and no, you can't borrow the car this weekend. So that along with whacking off an elephant was always a dream of mine. So we thought, what more of a perfect opportunity to fulfill that dream than in the magic of cinema. Gross out comedy. Gross out comedy. Oh, well. And this is the scene I was talking about earlier that was sort of, I think, a bit of a mockery. This is one of my, I really enjoy this scene when I watch it, because I really feel that this is sort of, you know, we're sending up a lot of things that you see in the movies, these father and son moments where the son gives his big speech at the end to the father, and it's all, you know, romantic and dramatic, and the music swells, and, you know, I think this is sort of a send-up of one of those things. You know, you can take it seriously, too, because it does play into the story, obviously, but, you know, Derek and I and my friends who write this movie, we don't really come from a movie background, you know. We don't really know about movies, and, you know, a lot of movies we find kind of are so formulaic that I think there was a lot of, you know, times that when we were making the movie that we would sort of send up the formula of you know, mainstream movies by sort of mocking them in moments like this. I think that was probably something that, you know, might have gone over the critics' heads when they were calling me ugly and an idiot. Do I look that ugly? I mean, look at me there. Am I an ugly man? I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at my face. It's certainly, I mean, that's, there we go. I guess, I don't know, maybe I am ugly. I don't know. It's not, I mean, it's not like the Elephant Man. I mean, my skin is fairly, you know, clear, and, but there's a little blood and dirt on my face. I don't know. I never really, I mean, I know I'm not the best looking guy in the world. I mean, I never really, like, you know, had, like, chicks flocking all over me in high school or anything like that. But, I mean, I don't think anybody ever, you know, would vomit as I walked past them on the street, you know? Did you see? I never heard anyone say, "Did you see that?" as I walked past them, you know? But, I don't know, maybe I'm an ugly man. I don't know. I think it's kind of something I probably should sort out on my own rather than on a DVD that's going to be distributed internationally to millions of people. But here we go, back to the movie. Let's stop talking about this stuff. This is, you know, there was a big scene here that we actually removed from the movie. I removed from the movie because I didn't want, you know, right after this, you know, we're kidnapped here. This scene here was initially a scene where see the gun on the table? Rip and I were playing Russian roulette with one another, and it was actually a really fun scene. I'm not sure if we'll be putting it on the DVD or not, but at this point, but it was a Russian roulette scene, and we kind of thought about it and decided to remove it just because we didn't want any one of you young children out there to blow your heads off, because you know, it's fun to do crazy stuff, but probably not that fun to do stuff that, you know, kids will copy and end up getting in trouble. So kids, don't play with guns. That's what I'm saying. There's Shaq thrusting his pelvis around. Shaq, actually, you can see his pants there, if you look at it, are actually stuffed with socks. Sorry, Shaq, I probably shouldn't be giving this away, but he showed up on set and he'd stuffed socks down into his boxer shorts, which was pretty funny. And he was a great guy and improvised a lot with us, and he did a ton of stuff, and it was hard to pick exactly the takes we would use because he did so much funny stuff. Here's Rip and I with long wigs, and this is actually a scene that these shots here were shot at a later date because we decided, you know, the movie initially just ended, the car drove away into the sunset, but we kind of thought we wanted to have an extra, when the fuck is this movie gonna end? You rock my brown hole. We thought the you know, the movie didn't end with a big enough of a bang, so we came in and we shot a couple extra shots. We shot this shot. This was reshot later on sort of our last day of shooting, and then of course what happens is limo drives away, and poor Andy Malloy still wants to say bye to Gord. Gets up and runs, run, oh, airplane propeller, and boom. What happened to Andy? Cue Eminem actually called us up and said, hey, you know, because he said, hey, you can, do you want the song for your soundtrack? And I thought that was really cool because I really like and enjoy Eminem's music, and we thought it was pretty funny when he was doing the Bum Bum song and talking about humping a dead moose in Slim Shady. So anyways, that's the end of the movie. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it very much. And not only do I hope you enjoyed the movie, I hope you enjoyed the commentary on the movie. you don't think that I'm, you know, a loser now that you've listened to me talk about the movie, and you know, you're probably saying, oh, that guy's a loser. You know, he's talking about how he thinks he's ugly, or people think he's ugly, and you're probably saying like, oh God, you know, he's all pissed off about what the critics said, and you know, maybe I shouldn't have been so honest. You know, maybe I shouldn't have told you about the coffee stick getting caught in my throat. Maybe I should have lied. Maybe we should have wrote one of these scripts, and I could have said all this crap, and you could have just listened to it and said, yeah, that's just a bunch of crap. It's a guy reading a script, a bunch of crap. Maybe I should have just been like that. Maybe I should just. Instead, I'm sitting here and I'm pouring my heart and soul out onto this audio tape for you to listen to, and maybe I'm ruining my career right now by doing this. Maybe you're gonna listen to this DVD and say, this guy's a fucking idiot. I don't want to see any of this guy's fucking movies ever again. I don't want to watch a stupid little fucking TV show. The guy's fucking an idiot. He's an idiot. Talking about his movie. I don't want to hear him talk about his sucky movie. I don't want to hear him. First of all, no one's probably going to buy the DVD anyway, so I don't have to worry about people, you know, hearing me talk like this, you know? Who's going to buy the fucking DVD? No one went to the movie in the theater, you know? Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed. And I will talk to you all later. Diallo Beckles, great post-production assistant, gotta tell you. He was Bronco Raki, second unit director and stunt coordinator. Yeah. Yeah. Problems. That's the Sex Pistols song. Yeah. Gotta Be Me. The Sammy Davis Jr. song. Iggy Pop re-recorded that. Re-recorded that song for us. I got to talk to Iggy Pop while he was in this recording studio in Miami. I called him up and it was crazy. He was like, you know, re-recording a song for our shitty movie, and it was just weird, you know, to have somebody like of that, you know, this is me again getting excited again, you know, here I am, I'm in Hollywood, you know, and Iggy Pop is recording a song for us, which is, I think, the song that is playing, is the very last song in the credit roll. It's the song that's playing right now, I believe. I can't hear while I'm recording this, but I believe it's playing right now. And soundtrack available on Restless Records. Please go buy one. Thank you. I really actually think that maybe I've probably gone too far. The reason I'm sounding a little weird right now is I'm thinking, I probably shouldn't have said that about nobody going to the movie. People are probably going to hear that. They're going to say, yeah, this guy's a loser. Yeah, I don't want people to think I'm a loser. I mean, we're putting out the DVD to try and make people think that it's cool. And here I am talking about how it sucks. That's going in the face of the whole point of this. The point of putting out the DVD is to make people think the movie's cool. Not hear the filmmaker talk about how much it sucks. What, am I an idiot? Don't I understand how it works? Am I a stupid fucking idiot? I'm a stupid idiot! Mommy! Mommy!